Yesterday was a day for the Indianapolis Colts to state what everybody else already knew, even though they tried to fool us into thinking they had a quarterback competition by listing Anthony Richardson or Gardner Minshew as their potential starters, something that apparently people who have been covering the NFL for years had never before seen last week. We saw it multiple times last week. We saw it in Indy. Here is, before we even get to that, I'll tell you, they've named Anthony Richardson the starter. Here is Richardson talking about his reaction to the news that really shouldn't have been regarded as news, that he will be the quarterback of the Indianapolis Colts when they start their regular season next month.
Honestly, I was shocked. I've been grinding and putting in work just to, get the title. But, it's not really all about a title. I'm just trying to make sure I'm ready for the team. Despite, being labeled as QB1, I still got other guys in the room helping me, get to that standard. So I'm forever thankful for them. I appreciate them, and I'm glad, I did get the nod, and, I do have the trust in everybody in the building to think that I am QB1.
Did you say you were shocked by it? Was that shocked by the timing of it, or I guess why?
It was just hearing the words, because you work for it. I didn't know when the timeline was going to be. I was just looking forward to week one and just being ready for the opportunity and getting thrown in the fire, hopefully. But he told me, and I'm just like wow, it really happened.
I can understand from his perspective, you don't want to presume anything. You don't want to assume that it's just going to be handed to you. I like his attitude. I like that he was shocked by it. The rest of us weren't, because we're in a position where we can see the way the wind is blowing. I guess when you're in the middle of the wind, you don't necessarily know. But we knew. Thanks to years of experience and seeing rookie quarterbacks highly drafted and understanding, it's just the way it works in today's NFL. You can't use a pick that high on somebody you're not going to play. Unless you've got the very rare at this point Kansas City Chiefs 2017 strategy we have a quarterback who's accomplished and we believe can get us to the playoffs, but long term we need to go next level, and we found somebody we can take us to the next level, or who can take us to the next level. We're going to put him on ice for a year, even though I still think the Chiefs could have maybe even gotten to the Super Bowl in 2017 if they had pivoted to Patrick Mahomes. That's the rarity. The rule is now, if you're going to use that pick, especially if you've been like the Colts with this revolving door of veterans since Andrew Luck abruptly retired 4 years ago this month, you go Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, bench him, Matt Ryan, bench him. You want a young guy to build around. You got nobody else that is in-house that has gotten anything done for you in 5 years. Yeah, you embrace that guy, you get him ready to play. It's on you as an organization to get him ready to play. And if that guy that you take with the 4th overall pick, if you don't think he's going to be able to be ready to play, you take somebody else with the 4th overall pick.
Yeah, I think there's a ton of logic to what you're saying. I mean, it was one of those where, it was a little bit like, wait, oh, yeah, they didn't name him a starter yet. You're right. I took it for granted, too. When the news came out, I was like, oh, because I was already penciled him in as the starter for sure. For all the reasons you said. It's a new head coach, right? They're trying to build something. They draft a quarterback this high. The talent is eye-popping, as anybody could see just watching these clips right here. I mean, it's not perfect, but the talent's there. And the way the ball comes out of his hand, the quickness, the velocity, the way he runs. I mean, he lowers a shoulder and you go, well, he's going to run this guy over. It's just rare to have the thoughts you have with him, let alone, I think, when you add on top of that, Mike, right, what we talked about in the draft process. This was a guy, let's not make the Trey Lance mistake again. A guy who hasn't played a lot in college, but now we're going to ice him on the bench a little longer so he doesn't get that experience. He needs to play. He needs to get out there, learn, and do that and grow as a player. And they'll grow that offense around him. So good for them for finally just getting this in the rearview mirror and moving on with life with the guy they know that's the man.
Yeah, the 49ers gave us an excellent example of what not to do. When you make a big move, trade up, create expectation, create more anticipation that here comes our savior, and he just never plays. And then when he finally does play after sitting on the bench for a year, he breaks his ankle, and then he's just gone. And now he's on the verge of being buried on the depth chart. I mean, and that's just circumstance. Not a whole lot has happened in the grand scheme of things since Trey Lance debuted as a rookie in the preseason 2 years ago. You got to get the guys reps young. You got to get them to the point where they have seen enough and done enough that the game slows down and they are where they should be 3 years into their career. Trey Lance is nowhere near where he could be or should be at this stage of his development because he's had such limited opportunity. Now, again, last year was wiped out due to a week 2 injury, but week 1, we didn't see him nearly as much as we could have or should have. And when you have a QB1 who you continue to regard as entrenched, getting all the reps in practice, those reps in practice mean something. So that's one of the reasons I think that,
100%,
that you do
Mike.
this.
Yeah.
And that's why I hate these quarterback competitions that go on and on and on and on and on. Like the Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask thing this year, last year with Geno Smith and Drew Lock in Seattle. The longer it takes to make your decision, the longer it takes for QB1 to get to act like QB1 and get all the reps and the preparation that comes from it. So here we are, 3 weeks out from the first game that counts for the Indianapolis Colts, and let's get this guy ready. Let's drop the facade. Let's not do what Urban Meyer did 2 years ago, where he tried to create some awkward trade market for Gardner Minshew by actually creating the impression that Minshew could beat out Trevor Lawrence for week 1, and then ultimately got a 6th-round pick for Minshew from the Eagles. Let's just call it what it is. We drafted this guy to come in and be our savior at the quarterback position. Let's let him get to work on saving us.
I think that's why you do it. You know, you explained it right. You get them the reps. You end the questions that are out there. You know, when are you going to name the starter? Is he going to be the starter? You stop all of that, right? And now you start to hone in on, hey, the things he does do well, and we're going to continue to formulate things like that around him in the offense. And you just start to hone in a little bit more on what your offense is going to look like overall with this guy leading the crew, right? I mean, as we know, there's going to be certain plays with a Gardner Minshew that are just they're not available to him that would be available to Anthony Richardson. So now they get to just start to worry about what they are going to be as a football team with Anthony Richardson at the quarterback position. He doesn't have to worry about the competition on a daily basis and worry about somebody looking over his shoulder. And the team, like you said, can start to frame the offense around him, the leadership role around him, and hopefully they can grow this into something big. But I think the way he played on Saturday, I can't remember all the damn games now, but the way he played there, I think, and what Shane Steichen said after the game, to make an early mistake, right, that was still eye-popping talent-wise, but then to rebound and you go, ooh, wait, is every throw going to look like this? I mean, this guy's raw. We know he's raw. Is he going to fall apart now that this happened, right, and start to force something, try to make things look good? And he played so within himself and was so calm, and really his play was better than his 7 for 12 and 67 yards like we talked about. He had 2 drops that were for significant yardage too, but I think that had to probably give them the extra, inkling or kick in the butt of confidence to go, you know what, this guy can handle it. And of course, he showed us that in front of the microphone every time he does that too. He looks extremely mature and ready to go as far as a starting quarterback in the NFL.
And, part of it, too, is how the coaching staff deals with it when you come to the sideline. Does their reaction cause you to freak out, or does their reaction cause you to calm down? And it looked like when they went to the sideline, the receiver who was in the foreground of the interception got a little of the business, maybe for not putting his arms in the air and trying to catch the damn ball. From the main angle, it looks like he flinches a little bit
he threw a ball where it's like you're right. I see it too, but I think he's not sure. Is he throwing to the guy outside or is he throwing to me? I think there's a little bit of both there, right? So maybe he doesn't give it the go, to your point. I think you're right, but I think there's probably a part of him that's like, wait, the trajectory of that ball, maybe that's not to me, maybe that's to the guy outside of me. But obviously there was
Watch
a
as they come
communication
off.
issue.
Watch as they come off.
Yeah, they're giving
Six
it.
is getting the business.
No doubt about it.
6 is getting the business, not 5. Isaiah McKenzie, because there it is, and it's like he just watches it go over his head.
Yeah, no.
Now, I don't know that he would have gotten it,
Right.
but I think he would have gotten it.
Well,
I think just
Coach
based
said.
upon what we've seen NFL receivers do, if you put your arms up and jump, he's got a shot at getting that ball.
Yeah, I don't know if he would have got it either way, but obviously there's something wrong. There was something wrong there. And they said there was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
There obviously was confusion, whatever. But the fact that he was able to bounce back from that, and that's the least of your concerns. That's like they'll fix that, like we said on Monday. That's an easy fix. He'll never make that mistake again. He'll expect that blitz, next time, know what to do, get guys on the same page. And the receivers, hey, they got a guy like Isaiah McKenzie. He's coming from Buffalo. He's probably got to learn a few new rules in the offense and is not greased up in that department yet. So, they got a little bit of a learning curve still to go here in Indianapolis.
Well, and the thing that screwed that play up, the blitz out of the slot,
Right.
and it hurried up Anthony Richardson, and maybe McKenzie just didn't even realize that everything had accelerated until it was too late. All right, back to the bigger decision.
Yeah.
And we can talk all we want about why we think the Colts did what they did, but we have access via the video that was created yesterday of Colts coach Shane Steichen explaining why now, why the move to name Anthony Richardson QB1 for the Indianapolis Colts. Here's Steichen.
Well, Anthony's just been progressing. The growth he's shown, and then obviously going into Buffalo, playing against a lot of their starters, he showed great signs of improvement, and like the things he did, and it's an opportunity for him now to get a lot more reps with the ones going forward, and then we go from there.
Shane, why did you feel the need to make a commitment in mid-August?
Like I said, I think we need more reps. Keep getting the more reps, keep creating that chemistry with the ones. The more reps he gets, the more he sees, the more looks he sees, he's going to be better for it.
Yeah, it's basically what we've been saying, and that's the way it is in the NFL. You get to the point where everything slows down. You get to the point where the light goes on. Whatever other cliche we could throw in here. There's a moment where you go from not really understanding it to understanding it, where you go from not mastering it to mastering it, right? Where I got this now. And there's a series of moments like that in the progression of the career of a quarterback, because you gradually learn things you didn't know. But there's that threshold moment where you've seen enough, you've done enough, and as they always say, the game slows down. That's one of the things you always hear about football. As you progress from level to level to level, it's faster, it's faster, right?
Right.
And there's a point where it no longer feels as fast, where, okay, I got this now, I can do this now. And it just comes through repetition.
Yes.
Nothing else.
Right.
Playing games, practicing with the first string, that's what gets you to the point where you're closer to reaching your potential. Whatever your ceiling is, the job of the coaching staff is to put you as the quarterback in the position to get to that ceiling.
Yeah, that's right. I've always explained it, Mike, to piggyback off of what you're saying, where it's like playing quarterback's like a bunch of snapshot pictures. And it's moving fast, and it's like, whoa, the safety's here. Whoa, there's a hole there. That was one picture. And then when you start to get comfortable, it starts to become like a slow motion movie. Now, I don't know if I ever got to slow motion in my career, but I got it to where at least it was a movie and it wasn't a snapshot. I did. Right before I got hurt, that playoff year where I was going, damn, I've seen things, and I'm coming off the sideline seeing things going, I don't even know how I saw that, but I saw it. I don't know. And that's where you do get after the reps and a little confidence and some good moments and learning from some bad ones. And yeah, I mean, Shane Steichen said it, the reps. Hey, there's first things the first team offensive line can do that the second team O-line can't do that would benefit Anthony Richardson, and Richardson would benefit the offensive line. So let's get that out of here. The hell with it, right? You always see, right, you watch a quarterback show or, Hard Knocks or whatever, right? The first team quarterback, he gets to always throw to the first team receivers, right? So let's start that right now. Now there's no more like Gardner Minshew's throwing to Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce. No, now it's Anthony Richardson every time. And when Anthony Richardson gets in 7-7, it's always those guys. So now it's, wait, I know exactly what Michael Pittman looks like when he's about to make the outbreaking route at 20 yards. I can see the body language. I've seen it day after day after day. Those are the little nuances and things that take the quarterback play and your offense to a next level, and it's good that they're getting there now rather than later and start to build that chemistry.
You know, as you were explaining the snapshots that eventually become the slow motion movie, I thought of something that I hadn't thought of in years, and I am preemptively calling for the old piano music, which I don't think we've heard.
It's been a while. Not since we got back.
Maybe it's my aging brain that has caused me to forget it. And this may even be before your time. This is long before we had things like this to distract us and fill in the voids, and when we were just bored in school or whatever. And I really have not literally thought about this in years. You would get in your textbook,
there it is,
and you draw a little stick figure. I don't hear it. You draw a stick figure on one page, and then you go to the next page, and that stick figure has moved a little bit to another still frame.
Right.
And then the next page, it moves a little more, and then after enough of them, you start flipping through your book, and it's a little stick figure running from one side of the page to the other and doing whatever, getting chased by somebody or a bird flies down. But that's what this is. You go from the individual images to something that actually moves.
Right.
To something that you've seen enough that you know how it goes. When you see that flash of the safety where he is, you know from film study and reps, you know where that guy's going to go. So you know where your player's going to be open. And you know how your player likes to catch the ball. You know how he breaks out of his route.
Right.
It all comes together into this 3D event where you didn't have to see all of it happening to know what was going to happen. That's only something that occurs through experience, repetition, and just do it over and over again.
Can you imagine? I mean, what did the game look like to Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, or even Aaron Rodgers, or what it's starting to look like with Patrick Mahomes? I mean, we're seeing that.
That's what he's trying to get to. He said that recently.
Yeah.
He wants to figure out how Brady got to the point where he knew before the play even began what was going to happen.
That's where I can't even imagine, putting myself in their shoes and what they saw and all of that, right? I mean, it's truly a slow motion picture with that type of quarterback play. But yeah, those type of guys, then through that experience, you get more and more clues because of how the game is slowed down. You start to notice even more things. Oh, I noticed the linebacker was just shaded over just a hair more than times before, and it clued me that, hey, he might be unlocking some sort of blitz here. That's why he took a step over. Those are the great things about experience and getting to play and doing that. You get a feel just, I can remember, to your point, Mike, when I started to feel really comfortable, I'd pull away from the center and drop back and have a good feel with my spidey senses of kind of the jump the backside defense end got on the snap count. Right? Just because now I'd gotten so clear in my eye, hey, I'm comfortable to where my vision was opened up to where I feel like when I pulled away, I could see Julius Peppers and what kind of jump he got. And if I felt like it was a good jump, I'd look downfield. But, hey, maybe at that fifth step, I might peek back just to make sure he's still being blocked, or am I going to get strip, sack, fumble? And, hey, I had a feel for that, and I got down and covered the ball. He didn't get me because the game did slow down. There's, of course, a ton of advantages, as we know, and we want all these young quarterbacks to get it, and we'll see who gets it the quickest out of this group here.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.